you doing today? What you doing? How you doing? All right now? Everybody all right now? Are you round and round and round and round and round? And here you come. Where is the button? Here is the button. Good morning. How are you this morning? Oh, okay. How you doing this morning? It's a morning show on Monday. Monday, it's a fun day. Cause it just means that life is still continuing. And there's no reason to be scared all the goddamn time. All right now. Now, thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, I write my own theme songs on the fly. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. It's just, it's a good Monday. It's a real Monday, I have to say, after the long weekend of sort of extended weekend of work last week, where I was driving into LA and doing stuff, and then driving back, and then doing stuff, and then doing multiple shows in a day, and driving back and forth. It was a lot. It took over it amazingly kicked me into an adrenaline cycle that made sleep very difficult. Now, some of you may or may not know, after the Saturday night show that I did exhausted, but still was awesome, I drove back to Vegas right after that because my girlfriend's mom is visiting, and this is her last day in town. I wanted to at least be here to say hi and hang out and stuff. And it turns out I also have to drive to the airport at some point. So I basically drove all night just to get back home. It was really very wanted, dead or alive. But I did have to pull over twice to take a nap. So that was interesting. So the first one, at one point I'm just like making material choices about the quality of my awake attention span while I'm driving. And it was about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, this would be a good time to find a brightly lit parking lot and take a nap. So I pull over, set an alarm, lean my seat back, and out like a light. And an alarm, my alarm like doesn't go off, but I wake up to a dude standing uncomfortably close to my window, like he was just about to knock. Felt like my spidey sense woke me up. And he's like, "Your lights are on." I'm like, "No, they stay that way. Never mind." My lights weren't on. They have like the running lights or whatever stay on if the key's in the ignition, if I don't turn them off specifically. And it was fine. But the dude standing there, I was like, okay, I'm up. And people in this area are comfortable walking right up to your car. Goodbye. Couldn't do that. So I get back on the road. I'm like, I'm awake anyways. My alarm goes off as I'm driving. I'm like, okay, go ahead. And then I keep driving. And then I'm like, nope, I clearly did not get enough sleep. That nap was not a power nap. So I had half a power nap, and you need a full power nap if you're going to do that. So I pulled over again, slept for a half hour, got up, and I was cool for the rest of the drive. But, and that's, I make very distinct choices about where I pull over to sleep. Like, there have been a couple of times where I've, on long haul drives as a stand-up going between gigs, where you're like, all right, I'll leave after the show, get there, and it's far enough away where you're going to be on the road. Even if you drive right after the show, you will arrive in your next destination, say like Wisconsin to Georgia kind of a zone, where you're going to arrive about the time you could check in at your hotel. And if you get there super early, you wouldn't. But if you get there way later, you're missing actual bedtime before the show or radio the next day or whatever. So I've done a fair number of those kind of things. And I've tried just about everything. Like the line of trucks, they all sleep together. And then you can kind of fit in there in a small car size amongst all these obviously sleeping truck. By the way, Chip is crawling around under the desk somewhere. Where'd he go? There you are. He's behind me now. There he is. Chip, what you doing? He's down there. See him? He's there. So I've tried all those options as you do, and well-lit parking lot of most used gas station is the safest. The sleeping alongside truckers things sort of felt like it would work until you see enough like true crime things where they, it's a serial killer and he turns out to be a long haul trucker. I just don't want to be the one that, be napping near the one that his primary victim was people sleeping alone in their cars that thought they were truckers, right? So, Chip, where'd you go? Psst, psst. He's crawling around here somewhere. He's been running in and out all morning. It's crazy. I'll get him in a second. He'll come back in, trust me. So I like many of you, wake and bake, in terms of Twitter and the like. You do that, right? You get up in the morning or something and you're like, if you're being naughty, you get up and you look straight at what's going on the social media stuff, which is not a healthy thing to do. It's not any healthier in many ways than turning on the news when you first wake up. Like those are that's one of the reasons, if you don't know, cultural expressions of media are no accident. We've talked about how, like, in the past, like, men in general and boys particularly need hero stories, whereas women might like hero stories and enjoy hero stories and want to be in superhero stories. Men need it or they'll become awful. It's actually a training mechanism that society has created to take the testosterone Americans among us and try to craft them into good testosterone people instead of bad testosterone people. It's no accident. And if you'll notice, when newspapers in general used to be the primary way that you would get media-related news. They'd release it into the public. And then it eventually became a morning news program. And then the morning news programs, they recognized, were depressing the shit out of everyone because unfiltered headline-style news, as soon as you wake up in the morning, is dangerous for your psyche. So all of the networks, all of them, created their version of soft pedal news in the morning. This kind of like, mixture, like Good Morning America, the Today Show, even Fox and Friends. The initial attempt in creating these shows was to kind of lower, let you put your toe in the news pool before you jump right in and feel how cold and uninviting it is, right? And that's no accident. They do that because it works and because people don't, as much as you might think differently with social media, people don't want to feel awful as soon as they wake up in the morning. And if they do feel awful, I guess maybe they're not buying toilet paper or whatever else the ads are. So they kind of ease into it. Social media doesn't have that choice. You're run by an algorithm picked by the people, and the people who are up that early doing that doom scrolling are now like corralling everybody else into the doom scrolling world. Now, you and I, because we know after a year together plus, we know how to interpret that stuff in a way that won't make us go, ugh, about life and people in general. A lot of people don't, quite frankly. The vast majority of people around you are scrolling, especially on Facebook, scrolling through Facebook and going, oh my God, the truth is horrifying. Have you seen the truth today? The truth, yes. What's the truth? Anything that shows up in my Facebook scroll. Yeah. Oh my God. It's just horrifying truth as far as the eyes can see. Oh my God. Oh my God, the truth is awful. Oh my God, a puppy. I'll look at the puppy for a second. Oh my God, scrolling terrible. So that is and by the way, that will change too. I swear to you, just like newspapers started offering comics at the end of it, basically so you could go look at the headline and go, and go, I'm going to look at some comics for a second, son of a bitch. Wonder what Garfield thinks this morning. Oh God, family circle. It's so true. Oh, headline. Oh God. Right. So, even all right, Cosmic Rose. I'll get him again. We do not capture Chip. We do not. Yeah. And imagine if you're getting it from a MAGA news channel. Absolutely. Because it has to be bad. Otherwise, Biden's good. And therefore, the whole premise dies. Right. So it's even worse on the MAGA side. But so social media sites, some of them already do a little bit. They give you trends, but they give you options about trends it doesn't default. The default is always like on Twitter. I'll show you real quick. If you go to the Twitter, if you'll notice, it used to just be trending, right? It was a trending tab, anything that was kind of boosted to the top. This one's a for you, which means what you normally click on. I don't know how this stuff gets in here. It's some of it. I'm like, and that's not even close to true. It's like for you, this is the kind of stuff that's normally promoted to you. Maybe it's a sketchy level of algorithm. But the point is, it's dovetailed around stuff. And by the way, we will get to this one and the hilarity of it in just one moment. Then there's regular trending, which is anything that's paid for, and then just worldwide, just a bunch of stuff. Like whatever's kind of punching to the top moment to moment without that filter of for you. Okay. Then there's a whole COVID-19 trending thing in case you don't want to look at any of it. Now, it doesn't corral the COVID-19 stuff out of the other trends, but it singularly puts it in one place in case that's your big fear point. News. Saki has COVID-19. She's going to be fine. She's been vaccinated and they're just around so many goddamn people. Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but if the Turkish ambassador shows up and has a meeting with the State Department, people in his entourage are going to have COVID. Sorry, they're all going to say that. So this will all be, that kind of related. Then there's sports and entertainment. In case you're like, oh God, I don't want to. Yikes. This one I love. We'll get to this one in a second. Jared Leto, there we go. Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson were spotted holding hands. Oh, good Lord. Who cares? And David Bowie would have been 75 today. Mariah Carey declares for Halloween officially over. Says it's time for Christmas. Just because she's got a Christmas hit, and it basically pays for her house for the whole year every Christmas. All right. And Judge Judy is back, and apparently a Karen with a law degree. So there will be a time. Right now, this is the for you part of it. In many ways, is a version of that stuff. The problem is if you're all in on news crazy, there will be no soft pedal version. So what's going to happen eventually with all social media sites is there's going to be a morning version that you can kind of pick, like hard news, soft news, no news, just family stuff, the family check-in or whatever. These are the options for the first thing that show up in your feed in the morning. Anything that's not an emergency, right? This is the only stuff. You'll be able to pick that stuff. And a lot of them will pick that for you in an attempt to be all about us connecting as people in the very beginning. And then you can set the settings lower to more news, less family. Because for some people, quite frankly, the family stuff might be more triggering than, let's see, nuclear war or a message from my aunt. Shit. Dear cousins. Oh, God. Right. So that will a Good Morning America version of social media will become a part of your regular experience. Get used to the idea. It'll take some of them longer to do it than others, but it's going to do it. I get my news from the Burger King dumpster by the freeway. Well, that's the old barrel edition is what they call it. Long hair looks good for me. A good thing on COVID. Yes, it is. It is. So it's I'm always amazed, because now that we start doing the morning show, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, don't forget to tune in, 9 a.m. Pacific time-ish, if I'm a little slow getting out of bed, or if I find a cat has thrown up in the house as I'm coming down the stairs, and it's on the carpet, and therefore I can't, leave it, because maybe a hardwood floor, you can kind of go, all right, I'll get that in a second, but or a concrete like we have. But if it's on the carpet, you got to handle it immediately. Yeah. So sorry I'm late. Hi. But in general, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, because Tuesdays and Thursdays I wake up early in the morning and I work out, and it would happen during this window, and I'm completely worn out. It snowed here this morning, according to Stargal. Where's here? Yeah, what's the weather like where you are? Because it is lovely here in Vegas and in Los Angeles. I mean, lovely. It's been raining a little bit. It's cool. It's dangerously close to making people not believe in climate change. Yes, it is. It is. My hair is awesomely long today. This is what happens because I didn't really do it. I just kind of, if I do it a little bit, it gets a little more height, and therefore it doesn't seem as long. But it's also like it's getting there. It's well past the clavicle on this side. I think I just lean a certain way. It makes it, but it's pretty close to even. This is when your hair's growing out, you can really tell how even your haircut was on either side of your head before you started growing it out. Like I thought it was even, but apparently not quite. I mean, pretty close, but it also might be the tilt of my head. What? That's a Luke saber back there. Yeah. So. Shall we jump into our trends and enjoy them this morning as I do my own Good Morning America, Good Morning Sparks, Good Morning Sparklers. So Jen Psaki tested positive for COVID. Let's see. She added last time she saw Biden was on Tuesday when they were outdoors wearing masks more than 6 feet apart. Psaki said she chose not to travel with the president to the G20 summit in Rome after members of her household tested positive for the virus last week. I see. So she's been out of that since that happened. Wednesday, in coordination with senior leadership of the White House and the medical team, I made the decision not to travel on the foreign trip with the president due to a family emergency, which was members of my household testing positive for COVID-19. Since then, I have quarantined and tested positive via PCR for COVID on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. However, today I tested positive. Oh, negative. Sorry, tested positive for COVID. While I have not had close contact in person with the president or senior members of the White House staff since Wednesday and tested negative for 4 days after that last contact, I'm disclosing today's positive test out of an abundance of transparency. I last saw the president on Tuesday when we sat outside more than 6 feet apart and wore masks. Thanks to the vaccine, I have only experienced mild symptoms, which has enabled me to continue working from home. I will plan to return to work in person on the conclusion of the 10th-day quarantine following a negative rapid test, which is an additional White House requirement beyond CDC guidance taken out of an abundance of caution. This is it's interesting to me, the right-wing freak out about COVID and the dichotomy of positions and the fear of it, and it's fake, but it's real, but it's the vaccine. Trump created the vaccine, but it's a depopulation plan. But but it causes you to become the mark of the beast and all these kind of things. But it was the Chinese who attacked us with a weapon, and therefore it's our only defense. It's so very strange, right? It's the number of corresponding stupid ideas you have to have in your head banging against each other in that situation. But you would think ultimately that you would lean into at least the masking part of it, because you can't argue with cloth. No, you can buy the cloth whatever you want. You can make it. You get a mask on Etsy if you want to, and leaning into the masking part of it as a permanent way of avoiding it until this whole thing is over, or you've caught it and survived it with your horse paste, while making a promise not to go to the hospital if you need a ventilator because you don't believe in it. I'm sorry. I am not going to go to the hospital if I get Santa Claus pox. Okay? I promise. I'm not going to go, please, I need a hospital bed, the ICU for 3 weeks, and a ventilator because of the Santa Claus pox. What's that? Well, I don't believe in it, but I've got it, I'm sure. If you get the Santa Claus pox and you're dying from it, stay home because you don't believe in it. But ultimately, like I said, wearing a mask seems to be one of the primary ones where you can go, we're going to wear masks everywhere rather than we will get tested and wear masks, right? That would be the thing. If you were the right wing, like logical reaction would be, I'm going to get tested. I'm going to wear a mask everywhere. I'm not getting that off of that, right? That's too much. They're trying to implant an octopus RFID chip in me that will tell me my future and turn me into a beast and make it so that I can use a credit card with my reader with my forehead. If there was any consistency, anyways, which there is none, obviously, because it's not really about the vaccine or the virus or any of that stuff. It's about showing your fealty to Trump and showing your disdain for Brandon, right? That's the belief system. Uh-oh. Why is Anna trending? I don't know. Okay. For me. Prince Charles. In lieu of Queen Elizabeth II, who canceled her COP26 appearance due to health risks, Charles gave a speech during the convention and pleaded the world leaders to come together to fight climate change. Yeah, hi, England. Hello, UK. Please send your elected prime ministers or your elected officials to these kind of things. I think monarchy is dumb. We fought a whole war over it. I don't give a shit what your royals are doing. I don't give a fuck about the Kardashians. I don't care what restaurants they eat at. I don't care about their political opinions. I think Kim Kardashian is a maniac and completely full of herself and seems to be hell-bent on releasing murderers into the very community they murder. It's the fucking dumbest thing I've ever seen. And she would be considered an American royal, and I don't give a shit what she thinks. If she wants to run for office on her ideas and get elected, knock yourself out. And people have the choice not to give a shit what I think, or even what she thinks, because we're not actually, we're in the world of celebrity royalty in that regard, there's, gradations. Obviously, I'm the court jester and therefore the most important member of the court. But I really don't give a shit about royals. I don't care where they move. I don't care that Meghan married into the royal family and got upset about how they treated her. You married into a royal family. Are you out of your fucking mind? Of course that's how they're going to treat you. And therefore you're a dumb person. And therefore I don't care what your experience is because you're a dum-dum. I'm sorry. You married into the royal family, the British royal family. One of the longest surviving monarchies in the world with the longest chain of imperial actions over the course of them, which I don't fault them for because that's how the world used to be. But don't fucking kid yourself. It's stupid. I don't know. I married into the British royal family, which has been known to intermarry just to keep the slightest bit of royal blood back into the family. And somehow I was treated like an outsider. No shit. She's still human? Yeah. And she made a human mistake, and she's a stupid human. That's what I mean. If I walk into a biker bar, shit-talking bikers, and I get my ass handed to me, it does not denigrate my humanity as a human being to have had my ass handed to me. I made a big dumb mistake about the room I was in. That doesn't say that the bikers were in the right. That doesn't say that I was in the, not a human being. You act like people can keep themselves from falling in love. You don't stumble on a member of the royal family and fall in love. They didn't meet in a goddamn bar. I'm not, again, you're not going to make me care about royals. It's not going to happen. Once you marry one, you're in for all. It's like marrying into the Winchester family. You got to keep building rooms for all the dead or the hell. Yes, I am blaming the victim once again. No, I'm not. It's not going to happen. I don't give a shit about royals. I don't give a shit about the ones that are born into royalty, and unless they try to escape and stop doing it. There was like a good example would be the dude from the Baskin Robbins heir who was born into all this money, and he turned vegan and decided he didn't want to be part of the exploitation of cows through the dairy industry, so he just gave up all the money. You can do it. He gave it all up. He literally didn't. He gave away his entire fortune. Didn't do it anymore. You can do that. So, yeah. I like Diana, and they treat her like crap as well because I was like, yes, that's the you married into that family. Those people are assholes. It's ridiculous. Royalty is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. There are no magic families. Piss off. Yeah. Anyways, so this all goes to Charles, though. Let's stick with Charles. I don't care what Charles has to say about this. I mean, honestly, I mean, you might as well. It would be better if you had a lottery where people could sign up and you picked a random British person who's a citizen and had them give a speech on whatever they think. That would make equally as much sense. Yeah. Yeah, there's no magic families. I'm sorry. There just aren't. And if you marry into a magic family thinking I'm going to be magic or I'm not going to be magic, it's silly. Everybody's going to think you're part of the magic family. It's silly. Astros Carlos Correa is scaring children. What? Oh. Well, it was Halloween. All right. Ariana's missing creature homage to Black Lagoon just proves she's the reigning Halloween queen. Okay, lovely. Oh, by the way, this has been in my... I love Diana as well, and Megan as well. But this, and also I was caught up in sort of the Diana thing when I was younger. I came to my realization about the movements and interpersonal movements of the royal family, not just based on the British royal family, but on the Saudi royal family and the Swedish royal family and whoever. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Half my family are dual British citizens. Well, wonderful. I think half of them should be able to give a speech at the COP20 meeting. Yeah. So, but this thing has been showing up in my For You trend for weeks. It doesn't cycle out. This Los Angeles Times, like they are hell bent on me clicking this. It's not promoted. It's just in here. Yes, it finally rained in California. No, it's not the end of the wildfire season. Here's why. And I already read this story elsewhere, so I'm not clicking on it. I'm just not doing it. Harumph. Yeah, of course, if you don't know what Let's Go Brandon is, this is what Biden supporters yell in stadiums when they're surrounded by Trump supporters for fear that they might get attacked because Trump supporters are... obviously are violent and vile and have more disdain for their fellow Americans than they do for any, ISIS fighter or any foreign attacker who might attack the country based on principle. They fear and despise their fellow Americans, so they yell, "Fuck Joe Biden." So if you're around them, you yell, "Let's go Brandon," and they think you're on the team, and then they don't. It's your way of supporting the president without. Yeah, that's what I say, and that's what I'm saying. I'm sticking to it. Get used to it. Elon Musk is ready to spend $6 billion to end world hunger. Asks UN to provide a plan, because that's the number apparently. Everybody's saying we could solve it with $6 billion. We can't. This is the $6 billion to end world hunger. That's $6 billion a year, and it has to be modified every year based on climate issues. But it's a great start. Yes, I'll update it later. Software. I'm doing a show here. So, again, I don't care. Why are you? I don't care. I don't care who dates. And BuzzFeed, for the record, BuzzFeed, page 6, TMZ. Here's why you guys are complete scumbags. You guys are complete scumbags because you knew about Weinstein, you knew about Cosby, you knew about Trump, you knew about the depth of the allegations and the horrific nature of them, and you did nothing. You laid ground fire cover for them. You made sure people didn't know. You were aware of the stories and you buried them under other stories if you ever posted them at all. Most of the time, you never did. And people were continually victimized because you shoved that stuff under the rug, because you were too busy chasing people who were trying to have a relationship all over the goddamn place, trying to get a picture of people holding hands. Every time I see a story like this, we're like, oh my God, somebody's going out with somebody. Oh my God, somebody's going out with somebody. All I can think of is, oh, you're posting this so that you don't have to post a story about somebody who is currently raping their way through some industry somewhere. It's gross. That's right. Excellent point, Ray. Gawker sounded the alarm about Epstein and Cosby, and Gawker got shut down. TMZ, Buzzfeed and all this stuff. And by the way, but you know, Buzzfeed, their name is, it's the opposite of buzzkill. Like, you know, buzzkill? We'll be the opposite of buzzkill. Like feeding your buzz. We're fucking gonna feed your buzz, bro. Like, it's, oh God, just so lame. Anyways, every time I see a story like this, cover Us Weekly, cover People Magazine, all this shit. Anytime I see one of these stories, I immediately go, all right, what are they not saying? What are they not? What are they saying? What are they posting this for instead of posting? Oh, P.S. You know, Danny, what's his name? Masterson. You know, or any number of other like skeevy, dangerous sociopaths who are taking advantage of the naivete of people in any given industry. Oh, new season, maybe? Mandalorian? It's here, first trailer of the book of Boba Fett coming to Disney. Oh, that's very exciting. I have been learning the Unreal Engine software. Don't show his face right off the top. Show the back of his head. That is alien. They shoot all this on the Unreal Engine, using the Unreal Engine on like these little LED scenes, like sound stages. It's amazing. I have not seen Dune yet. I'm going to. I'm gonna watch it with Ethan, and we've been missing each other because he's been working, and as have I. So yeah. Yeah, you've seen his face in The Mandalorian, so it isn't a shocker. I know, but it's at least, I mean, just, it's about the character. This is the way. This is the way. The best thing about seeing one of the, you know, the Mandalorian or their type is that you're not, is that it's the helmet that talks. It's like Darth Vader. You know what I mean? Darth Vader and the character itself is informed and exciting, informed by and is exciting because of, well, somebody's stealing the Wakanda shields. Man, and here's my one criticism about the Mandalorian stuff that's shot. The fist fights are friggin' slow. You know that thing a long time ago where they used to go, you got to throw a hay baler, or the audience, you know, like Bruce Lee had to pull his punches and punch slower because they couldn't even film it. That's not true anymore. We're shooting in 60 frames per second. For Christ's sake, you can crank up the shutter speed. Let me see some fast fighting. Everybody's like, it's like wrestling. It drives me a little crazy. But that said, I'm very excited about it, and I will watch it, and good. Uh-oh. Oh, we came back to it. Hold on. Justice Thomas. Oh, good Lord. This is about his wife. Oh, everybody. Currently, they're having the arguments about the Texas abortion law. Yeah, so I think that's for the deep reads for folks. The arguments are going on right now. Ricky Schroeder. Excuse me, it's Rick. It's Richard. Oh, this guy's posting this thing. Rick Schroeder. Sorry, what did he say? There. Is it to have to do with Rittenhouse? Oh, so it's basically this guy's take on it. Okay. See, that one's back again. Lindsey Graham. Oh, good Lord. No, I can't. All right. Reportedly told law enforcement officials to fire on rioters who breached the Capitol. Oh, all right. So so I guess we finally have an answer to who killed Ashley Babbitt. Someone called Trump. It was Lady G, apparently. We give you guns for a reason. Use them. Whoa. Republican Senator reportedly told law enforcement officials to fire on rioters who breached the Capitol on 6th. January, part of a 3-part investigation by the Washington Post. Well, then why don't we go there? There we go. This is the business. On Sunday, second part of the Post event called Bloodshed was released. The piece detailed events inside there. 219, blah, blah, blah. But many lawmakers stayed back in their chambers before they were taken to safety. It was during this time the Republican senator from South Carolina allegedly asked U.S. Capitol Hill police personnel to use their guns against the mob. Lindsey Graham was irate that senators were forced to flee their own chamber. I would rather you shoot some of my favorite politician supporters than make me leave my desk. He yelled at the Senate Sergeant-at-Arms, "What are you doing? Take back the Senate. You've got guns. Use them." The South Carolina senator was adamant. "We give you guns for a reason," he repeated. "Use them." The report also said that around an hour into the attack, Mr. Graham was one of several Republican senators who tried to get through to Donald Trump to convince him. He called Ivanka Trump, told her, "This thing is going south." Which is weird for a senator from the South to say. Because going south is a reference to losers because of the Confederacy. All right. Graham, the South Carolina senator, well, or it's something sexual, which also would be a whole different meaning. Graham, the South Carolina, who was one of Trump's closest friends in Congress, called Ivanka Trump repeatedly with suggestions for the president. He would say, "We need to get these people out of here." He told the president, "This thing is going south. This is not good. We're not. You're going to have to tell these people to stand down." Stand back and stand by wasn't enough, Lindsey? When he said stand back and stand by, apparently they were just tired of standing back and standing by. And yeah, stand down. And he yells, he tells Ivanka to stand down. Oh, God. "We love you. You're very special. Now stop trying to kill Lindsey Graham, even though he wanted the cops to shoot you." So, and at what point does the Congress get to call him forward or call the guards forward that are in that report and go, "Did Lindsey Graham actually tell you to fire on protesters?" So, all the stuff that Lindsey Graham has been saying about the January 6th attack, about it, either it was really just, it got out of hand, but it was, these were people who were just big fans of the president. All the stuff that you were saying about that, you wanted the cops to fire on those people. Okay. I think Lindsey Graham needs to go do a couple of rallies with Trump. That's what I think. That's what I think. We give you guns for a reason. Use them. And look how use them is getting. Use them, like you do Trump supporters. And because of this, everybody uses the use them thing. Oh, so good. It's just so on the nose. I don't know what's happening here, but it's fabulous. Before it came out to lock their phones up so they couldn't use them during the show, it was an entirely different experience. Yeah, we had everybody lock up their phones. It was so much fun. Here's somebody's phone footage. I think that's the Viper. Yeah, that's the Viper room. And they have they must have the extender out on the stage again. The Viper room's a great place to play where you want 80 people to look like 1,000. Womp 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 womp. Hey, Fox News, when are you going to bring on Lindsey Graham and interview him about him saying that they should fire on Trump supporters who were just there, exercising their freedom, fighting for America, right, and coming back, and we're going to take our thing and doing what's right and justice? Very exciting. Michael Flynn, of course. Everett Stern alleges reps for the former national security approached him with an objective to influence lawmakers to support election audits in favor. Well, of course he did. Of course he did. This is none of this. There's no surprise. How the tragic day Alec Baldwin shot Hutchinson and Joel. Oh, God. That's going to be playing out. We know how it happened. I don't need to hear any more about this. What I need to hear is new rules by the either through the prop handlers or the armorers union or the producers guild or SAG-AFTRA or some fucking body passing a no live rounds on set ever rule, period, end of fucking story. And that anybody involved in a production that allows them cannot get union status if it was an independent one later. No live rounds on fucking set ever. We're pretending. Nobody needs you wouldn't do it during a goddamn play. The hell's wrong with people? These were real guns and they were classic guns. So some of the people around there who were homosexuals were wanting to play with the old-fashioned guns. I saw what Alec Baldwin said to the guys who were following. Yeah, and I'm like, again, I cut people a lot of slack who've been through a trauma to talk about it however they want. But the idea that telling this story, I don't give a shit. We know how it happened. He was handed somebody said cold gun. He was handed a hot gun. They were practicing the shot. He was firing past the lens because that was the shot. And when he clicked it or he held it up, it either went off accidentally or he pulled the trigger because he was trying to show what he would do. And the bullet went straight through the cinematographer and struck the director, killed her. And I mean, it was a through and through. She was not going to survive. And then it struck the director as it ricocheted through her body, which is terrifying. That's how it happened. I don't need to hear the sorrow stories about how it's terrible. Everyone knows. We were all emotionally struck by how bad it is. We don't need to be reminded of it. The rules need to change. If you're not telling the story about how the rules are going to change, it's not a story. You're just a ghoul. This is a ghoul story. They're just right. This is prurient interest in the death of somebody. That's what this is. I want to hear more details about how this poor woman was killed by an accident on set that was caused by the mishandling of firearms. Somebody's how you're missing something about Graham asking for guns to be used. You know who else wanted MAGA to get shot? That was the heavy firepower MAGA had across the river would be brought over. They wanted the National Guard to be allowed to come over there. There was a back and forth about that. Is that what you mean? Or the fact that the Proud Boys were like waiting for their cue? God damn it, Christy. That's Christy McNichols. Christy's prayers for me, please. Yesterday I took an ambulance ride to the hospital. I'm still here with pneumonia. I'm on oxygen, etc. All COVID related, of course. I'm in good spirits and great hands. Son of a bitch. She's a Trumper. And I was in, Christy Swanson was in Dude, Where's My Car? And I met her and she was lovely to work with. She was not, I still had my radio show at that time. I was overtly political, but it never, she never brought up anything that would make you think she was overtly or covertly political one way or another. She's basically a Twitter conversion in that regard. I hope she, I don't believe she did. I was about to say, I hope she got vaccinated, but there's just no way. There's just no way that this is a breakthrough case for vaccination. No, she has pneumonia. She's blaming COVID. Thought COVID. Yeah, exactly. Well, COVID, she got COVID and it's turned into pneumonia. And the problem with a lot of the treatments, even, is that you got to start them early. And if you don't believe in it, or you've been told that it's bullshit, or they can be treated through, simple means acutely, again, get your vitamin D level up, exercise. If and when you get it, you'll have a better chance of surviving. Period. Most of the people who die have low vitamin D. Most of the people who die have excess body fat or have pre-existing conditions. So we're talking statistically. Statistically, you want to raise your chances of surviving. Exercise regularly, get enough vitamin D, eat healthfully, all those things. But you can't do those things acutely. You can't go, shit, I tested positive for COVID and hop on a goddamn treadmill. It doesn't work. None of these are acute solutions. They're long-term health solutions, which everyone should be doing. But in a situation like this, where a disease is rolling through the public swiftly, and I don't need to tell you guys, I feel like I'm yelling at her through you guys, that vaccination is the only safety net that gives you some guarantee of survival. Because it's not just people, it's statistically, it is people who are overweight who have comorbidities, but that's not a magic bullet to avoid that. Wouldn't exercise make you more sick? No, not necessarily. No. Your mom didn't die from cancer. She died from pneumonia. Yeah, well, because it breaks down your system. And a lot of times, the medication they'll give people for cancer will lower your immune response and the like. Yeah. Well, it's like my grandfather officially died of Alzheimer's, but he had colon cancer that was going to kill him. And they basically had a choice. They took him off his medication for his Alzheimer's rather than basically have him survive to have the colon cancer kill him. So he had basically, his heart forgot to beat, essentially. And that was a less painful way to go than the colon cancer. But the colon cancer, if they hadn't done that and he just had Alzheimer's, he would have been alive a lot longer, right? So that happens quite a bit. And Stargal, and I'm very sorry for your loss, by the way. I don't know when it happened, but I don't imagine that ever softens ultimately, right? Yeah. So here's the thing about Christy Swanson. I disagree with her politically. I've worked with her before. She's one of these misguided, well-meaning assholes. She becomes an asshole, but she's coming from a point of view in her mind that is very pro-fetus and all that kind of stuff, right? And so that's why we recognize there are the reachables and the not reachables. And sometimes when you're talking to the not reachables, you talk to them in a way that talks past them to the reachables that are just over their shoulders, right? Right. So anyways, it doesn't matter anyone's political affiliation when pneumonia could kill them and they could choke on their own lung tissue. I do not wish that on anyone, and I will not support the wishing of it on anyone. Period. End of story. Never, not ever. And that's because politically, ethically, socially, philosophically, I am always comfortable arguing my point of view, and quite frankly, believe that I am pretty goddamn convincing. And that over time, we could either reach a consensus, or I could actually convince you that my way is the better way. So I don't wish ill on anyone. And again, being stupid, crazy, or mistaken should be a death sentence. Anyone. Anyway, she became a Trumper for whatever reason. Sometimes, like Dennis Miller's 9/11 panic turned him right wing. God knows what, and the abortion issue has bifurcated groups of females into really entrenched warfare across the country. And it's really hard to create a consensus there. Or, that's what the phrase pro-choice is all about. That, it's not that like the idea is that there's pro-life, there's pro-abortion, whatever that, those two things are, which they seem to be very malleable ideologies, because obviously death penalty's fine, right? I obviously believe in nuking ISIS, but and then pro-abortion, which means all babies, whatever. equally crazy. And then there's pro-choice in the middle, which was meant to be a mitigatory idea. And that the choice about whether you're pro-life or you believe you should have that choice about that mitigatory conversation happens in there, and that it's a moral one, not a legal one. Thanks, Spicy Dragon. You're not arguing, you're just explaining why you're right. Exactly. And sometimes I'm mocking, but only when it's appropriate and the people I'm talking about freely and ferociously mock people or punch down, as the conversation has been lately. Yeah. So, anyways, period, end of story. Get well soon, Christy Swanson, so that I can argue your stupid ideas back at you. Please learn something from this. Please survive and learn something from this. I don't need one of my co-stars in Dude, Where's My Car to die because Donald Trump convinced them that they should, that's how they show their fealty. It's fucking depressing. Oh, good. Fentanyl. Oh, did they there was a big bust? Oh, yeah. So, welcome to President Biden's America, where 10,000 pounds of fentanyl have been seized by Customs and Border officials so far this fiscal year, which is enough to kill over 2 billion people. Yeah, they seized it, dum-dum. It ain't getting through. I don't... Is this what you have to post, Chuck Grassley, when the deaths are going down? Dude, where's our 25th anniversary reunion? That's a good idea. I mean, it was 2000, so... we've seen a bunch of these, by the way. This isn't new. Like, Fox News did a big whole, like, look at all the fentanyl that's coming across the border. Like, yeah, it's getting caught. Good Lord. Young people are over Democrats and Republicans. New data show what that means for 2022. It means they're being told that somehow there's a possibility that exists for something to happen that is impossible, and they're mad at people for not doing the impossible because the other side wants that thing to be impossible. That's what that means. This is a failure of news, not politics. And again, see, this shit keeps coming up. Yes, I read the article. I'm not convinced. I don't know what, like, this seems to be like the Los Angeles Times fear of climate people. How will you cover the Kyle Rittenhouse murder trial, please? Sort of. Here's the problem I have with the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. This kind of goes to the whole Democrats and everybody over there. Kyle Rittenhouse, the TYT's been all over this shit, and they are talking out of their ass about it. And there's how you... when you talk about certain, especially legal issues, where somebody's being charged with murder or you want somebody to have a fair trial, those kind of things, and you want that to be ubiquitous across the entire legal system, then you can't pick and choose how you wish certain cases would go your way. And in this particular case, here's the problem with the Kyle Rittenhouse issue. The fact that he was armed by a gun and he was underage is the single charge that he could actually get convicted on. That's the only charge legally they have a case against him for, that he was in illegal possession of a gun. All the other charges where he shot the other two guys and they died and injured the third guy I'm sorry to tell you, and this isn't how it should be, how you want it to be, how you wish it would be, all fall under self-defense. The first guy he killed, he was fleeing from that guy. I've seen the video. It's stupid. And again, this isn't how it should be. This is how it is. He was fleeing from the first guy that attacked him. Once you flee a situation, even if that person, if you were holding a gun at somebody, right? You're pointing a gun at someone, and then they fear for their life. But then you run away and they chase you and hit you with a hammer and kill you. They're guilty of murder because you were fleeing. If you fire on them while they try to hit you with a hammer while you're running away, that's self-defense. That's how the law works. You were attempting to flee. Yes, fuck Rittenhouse. Agreed. But this is the law. I'm not talking about it. The guy tried to take his gun. He shot him. Then another guy came in, hit him with a skateboard, and that was an attempt to take the gun as well. Shot that guy. The third guy shot in the bicep had a gun in his hand. He was armed himself. What happened before that was that the first guy, Rosenbaum, that attacked him, the first guy he shot, was setting fires. Rittenhouse was putting the fire out. Rosenbaum confronted him and started chasing him because he didn't want him to put the fire out. He had not just shot someone before that part. The first person he shot was Rosenbaum. He hadn't shot at anybody at that point. There is no evidence around that. It isn't even about that he was right. It's that in the eyes of the law, that circumstance will work out as self-defense. And you don't want it to be any other way, because the finally threading those situations puts a woman who's being sexually assaulted, gets the gun away from a person, she's running away, the guy decides to attack her again, she shoots him, and that's murder now. His gun wasn't illegal. He was underage and couldn't have it, but that's a misdemeanor charge. That's what I'm telling you. It's not murder. I know you feel like it's murder. Emotionally, it feels like murder. But under the eyes of the law, it will not be. I'm just telling you how it's going to work out. I'm not telling you to like it. Again, he put himself in that position on purpose. That's something you have to prove in a court of law, that he was baiting this particular person into murdering them or murdering people in general in that regard. That is a case to be made that the prosecution will try to make, but it's incredibly hard to do because you're talking about his mentality leading up to it. And the actions of those moments are going to read out to self-defense. And it doesn't qualify as vigilantism because he didn't shoot the guy for starting the fire. I'm just telling you. Again, you can argue about it and you can be upset about it, but I'm telling you this is how it's going to play out. He's going to get the charge for having the gun. I just don't want you to be disappointed or think the fucking law doesn't work because this is how this turned out, because somebody else has told you that it's cut and dry and this is how it is. He put himself in harm's way in order to have an excuse to shoot. You can believe that, and that's a reasonable thought to have, but it's nearly impossible to prove. Here, I'll give you an example. A woman armed with a gun knows that a man sexually assaulted her friend at a bar. One of three men. Let's make it broader so it fits the Rittenhouse thing. She shows up to and flirts with, let's use an extreme version of this, or sits around near these guys, just sits near them. And she's there because she wants to coax this dude out into the parking lot and shoot him. Well, if that guy never follows her into the parking lot, it falls apart. Doesn't matter what she's thinking. That guy has to act on that thing. And he has to act on it in such an extreme way that she has justified reason to shoot. So even if she has this plan, that plan involves him attacking her for it to be, self-defense. It's murder if he walks out into the parking lot. He's like, what the fuck's the matter with you? He's standing near the door and she just shoots him from 18 feet away or something. He never leaves a glove on her, never approaches her, is never within 10 feet, or 21 feet, which is the distance, like fast cover distance in most self-defense cases, meaning that if you can fire once, and if you miss, I can be on you if I'm less than 21 feet away. And so firing multiple times is justified in that circumstance. This is how this stuff works out. And again, it would be premeditated, but they have to show that premeditation. Do you think if it was a black guy and did the exact same thing, he wouldn't be charged with murder? Yes, because it's happened in other counties. Obviously not in a riot situation. Yeah. Was the guy bored at home and asked his mom for a ride to pick a fight? Sort of. He was in with a group, but again, we're talking about a minor. We're talking about a 17-year-old. We're either talking about a minor kid or we're not. Are we talking about minors? Do minors have special rights? Does the girl that Matt Gaetz sex trafficked from Florida to Georgia, is she now no longer an innocent victim and simply flew with a grown man to another state? She's the same age as Kyle Rittenhouse. And again, I'm not telling you how you'd like it to be. And again, you can't charge him as an adult because it's a self-defense argument. That's also why they can't call them victims. Everybody was flipping out about the fact how I hate the kid, but you're saying exactly what I've been telling people. I know, you don't have to like him. You don't even have to like the law. I'm just telling you how it's going to be. The problem with thinking it should be another way and not thinking through what that would mean for the rest of the law means that, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. He didn't give, Kyle bought the gun and kept it at a friend's house. Let's see if I can get this in here. I'll give you an example just so you can, there seems to be what was that school shooter recently who said he was bullied? Yeah. The kid in Arlington, Texas. This is sort of an answer to the, if he was black, would it be different? And this isn't even a situation where he was approached. This is as similar a case right now as you can possibly get to. This is the kid who shot a teacher and another kid at school, brought a gun to school, and his family says that he was bullied for being wealthy. The suspect of a high school shooting in Arlington, Texas that injured 4 was previously bullied because of his family's wealth. Family spokesperson said he was scared, he was afraid. It wasn't just one person that would attack him and bully him, taking his money, harassing him because he had more things than others. It takes us all to stand together against this bullying. Due to the fact that we are blessed financially, he's able to get things that other children and teenagers could not have. And so because he wore nice clothes and because he drove nice cars and because he had nice things, he was like a target. This is this kid, Timothy Simpkins. This kid was richer than the other kids at school. He has like gold teeth or whatever. And yeah. He fired a .45 caliber handgun in a Timberview High School classroom after an altercation with another student. 4 people were injured, 3 were hospitalized, and a 15-year-old boy is in critical condition. He fled the scene and turned himself in to the police several hours later. This is exactly a circumstance where everybody goes, this would never happen if he was black. It happens all the time. And the problem with not recognizing that is that you kind of you're pulled in this false sense of like fear and anguish. Anyways, it's not different. It isn't different because the charges are the same, essentially. He's going to argue self-defense in a certain way. And they're going to say, you brought a gun to this situation. You premeditatively brought a gun into this circumstance. The other people you knew didn't have guns or you thought they didn't have guns. Right. Point is, the law has to be a softer version of what you can spread across a bunch of people. No one is dead. The 15-year-old's in critical condition. The intent was that they were dead. And none of those people, by the way, attacked that kid when he pulled the gun. They all ran. Kyle Rittenhouse shot people who were directly attacking him. That's the thing. White minors have special rights, it seems a lot. Well, this kid has a special right. He went home. They're going to charge him, obviously. But he was released on $75,000 bail and has an ankle monitor. I think we want you to say how that he is a horrible person. That Kyle Rittenhouse is a horrible person? Kyle Rittenhouse is an asshole, but he's still a child, just like that other kid was. And so I talk about children differently, even at the age of 17, personally. This is my personal choice. You don't have to believe anything I'm saying. You can check out legally what I'm saying, and you can check out morally against what your own feelings are. Kid's a 17-year-old. He went there to kill people. You have to make that case, and you can't. The school shooter, you could argue, went there to kill people. And either just stop shooting because it's really awful when people start falling around you. That's why most of these people shoot themselves in the head. Police shot who? The kid I just showed you? Simpkins? They didn't shoot him. Yeah, a young man's brain is not developed at 17. No one's an adult till they're basically 22. Underage and armed is a dangerous thing. Completely agree. And the laws need to be more strict, more stringent, much like the Rust shooting. No bullets on set ever. No real bullets ever on set. And so, if you're a minor, if you're under 18, you can't join the army, why the fuck should you be able to own a gun? You can't vote. You are denied several rights of citizenship when you're under 18. What about mom? I mean, that's an argument. But again, how far does that go? How many black 17-year-olds get charged as adults? About the same as, a lower number. Statistically, I don't know what the difference is, but a lower number than the white kids that get charged as adults because the volume depends on what the crime is most of the time. Anyways, again, this is not when the conversation about this, I think, is very telling. The conversation of this spawns into, if it were this, would it be this? If it were this, would it be this? He thought this. He clearly thought this. I'm just telling you how the law goes. If it were this, it should be this. I think it's like this, therefore it should be like this. I'm telling you what the law says and what in Wisconsin it's gonna be. And if you think the law itself should be changed, there is nothing wrong with that. I agree. Hold on, I'm backing up here. This guy. Yeah, you can't get silicone implants till you're 22. Exactly. There's absolute need for reform. Even with those no bullying schools, some kids still treat others like crap. Yeah, but that's because you can't legislate humanity out of existence. It's constant gardening. Try and set a hard rule. We did. Humanity tried to set a hard rule. The 10 Commandments, which supposedly is the basis for our entire legal system, which it is not. But what was it? Thou shalt not kill. Pretty definitive, right? No killing ever, except the Hittites and their babies and the people who are on your land currently. And then, of course, we don't obviously. That group of people. Well, so, okay, some killing. Okay, well, but what killing? We got to start bifurcating this out. We have 20 different versions of murder in varying degrees. Right? Because the more free you are, the more finely written the law is, because you got to decide where the freedom rests in between these situations and where humanity rests. Where's the humanity between all murder is bad and a woman defends herself against someone assaulting her with a gun and ends up killing them? Right? Is that just murder? No, of course not. So, yes, motive is everything. Right. So how do you prove it? You can kill someone with words. You by no means can kill someone with words. You absolutely cannot kill someone with words. They have to be in on it with you. They have to be told by those around them that your words mean something more than their words. That's another conversation entirely. You're not going to pull me into the words or violence part of it. I believe in people too much. I believe in humanity too much. Did she grow up across state lines? Group up across state lines. Oh, by the way, the idea that Kyle Rittenhouse carried the gun across state lines, Anna Kasparian says this all the time, has no meaning in this circumstance. None. What they're trying to do is get it to be they're trying to say it's a federal case, take it out of Wisconsin law because he crossed state lines to do it. The problem is that he crossed state lines to go do this thing, but the gun was kept at his friend's house that's in Wisconsin. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. The whole they cross state lines part, I don't know why the fuck anybody thinks that's legally meaningful. It has nothing to do with the self-defense case. Nothing. And again, this isn't about how it should be or whether I don't think he's a little asshole who's led around by his psychotic mother and he's a child, right? Do you want the law applied, equally and reasonably? Or do you want it to go the way you want it to go when you want it to go that way? It was self-defense. He was currently attacked. He did not fire on anyone until he was physically touched. I'm telling you. Look at the video if you want to. It's horrifying. It's awful. It's gross. And that's why they can't call them victims, because it is the state's job to establish that they were victims, not the defense's job to assert that they were victims. Does it matter that he's 18 now? No. His parents should be held liable. A reasonable case, I would agree. That's hard, though. Again, are parents liable for their child's overdose death? Is that, up to a certain age? Those kind of things. That's where the law gets watery. You got to start making those decisions. When I talk like Hal Sparks to my family, I'm called a pessimist. But I think, yes, I'm a realist. This is realistic. How many people do you have to kill before one pays consequences? Well, I don't think it's about the number. It's about why you killed them. Right? Yeah? Where'd you get the gun? Illinois, all sorts of laws for storage. That's the thing. That's why he had it in Wisconsin, probably. That part will come out in trial, hopefully. And that would go towards the case you're trying to make about his mentality. Like he knew he would get provoked and he knew he would get to shoot someone, and that was the purpose. But that's so hard to prove because it's mentality. Unless he wrote it out in some sort of manifesto, they're liable when they incite them to commit violence, I would guess. Yeah. He was amongst the protesters beyond the police. He was trying to be a hero, decided as disgusting as this is. Yeah. Murder is a rich man's sport? Oh, by no means. Talking about like the Coca-Cola company hiring death squads to secure water rights in Africa and India, that kind of stuff. Is that what you mean? He came there to kill for Trump. Again, I know you think that, and it's a reasonable thought to have. There's no frigging way they'll ever prove that in court. And even if he did go there, go there with that purpose, he ultimately did not fire on anyone until he was touched. So it was the perfect crime. It was a murder, but he managed to figure out a way to get to it. I'm just telling you. Yeah, George Zimmerman, a totally different story. George Zimmerman is their hero too. George Zimmerman stalked and murdered an unarmed person. And everything that Trayvon did to protect himself, like hiding in the bushes to get away from this fucker, he's being followed by a guy with a gun. You could see the guy had a gun. Like, in my estimation, Zimmerman went there to commit murder, and the only reason he got to fire back when he was attacked was because the kid he was following was too far from home and was being followed by somebody with a gun to protect himself. So he made a decision in that situation, and this is just my reading of the Trayvon Martin situation. He made a decision to hide, and when the guy got close enough and he maybe either felt that he saw him there or he told him to come out and he was holding a gun, the only chance he had, because this guy is not a cop, this guy was a lunatic, was to try and fight and get away. And ultimately, Zimmerman used that as an excuse to murder him. And I would say that that's the Zimmerman case. That most people are making the case around Rittenhouse that absolutely applies to the Zimmerman case. And Zimmerman is a grown man and called the cops to say that's what he was doing, that he was following this guy. He thought he was, Yes, the police told Zimmerman to fuck off, exactly. and he continued with it. That's and in many ways, I think people are feeling, in lining these situations the same way they feel about the Zimmerman case with the Rittenhouse case, as if they are materially the same. Where Zimmerman basically cornered Trayvon Martin into an area where he couldn't get away, and used it as an excuse to shoot him. Now the question is, was Trayvon fighting with him for his own life, and banging his head against the curb, as he says, because the guy had a gun? What the fuck are you gonna do? Turn your back and run and hope he doesn't shoot you in the back? What chance do you have then? It's silly. Sometimes it makes sense to go, okay, I've got zero chance if I just try to escape this guy, because he obviously thinks I don't belong here, and he thinks he's justified, and the cops, he doesn't know the cops has talked to him. He doesn't know any of this stuff. You have to remember, too, the victim has a window of knowledge that we, after the fact, may know that they don't in that moment, right? Yeah, then he sold the murder weapon at auction. Absolutely. I mean, this was an ego act entirely. So if Trayvon was fighting back with him because he was fighting a person with a gun, I think Trayvon died defending himself, and it was murder on Zimmerman's case. That's my personal feeling. If Zimmerman shot him and then banged his own head on the curb and said he attacked me, that's murder. Across the board, the Zimmerman case, to me, from all day, especially starting at the moment the cops said don't follow him, that's when it became murder. Right? That's when it became murder. Yeah, and I think that's the same case can be made in Ahmaud Arbery's case. But you can't take those circumstances and the injustice in those cases and overlay them legally onto the Rittenhouse situation, especially when it's amongst white guys. And it was the leading up, I guess, since the third guy actually pulled a firearm that Rittenhouse either had seen on the guy's hip before or knew he had or saw him drawing, it's a totally different circumstance. And that's where you get into like what I would call injustice soup. I'll put a stool on your head and lighten the mood. I know, this is a lot. I wasn't intending on talking this. Nope, you can't, but Rittenhouse was hunting and not a victim. Yeah, but you can't prove that, Pauline. That's my point. We're talking about what you can prove in court. And a lot of people are going to get very disappointed because you can't prove it. Because you have to prove what he was thinking in his head, and he's going to say, nuh-uh. And then they're going to show video of these guys grabbing his gun and him shooting them because they were going to try to take the gun away from him and kill them. And he was already fleeing, which is your right in a situation. I'm just telling you it's going to be the deal. Yeah, he'll get 5 years probation, something like that. He'll get a misdemeanor charge, probably a fine that his parents will have to pay. And everybody will go, the justice system is torn apart. Like, no, it isn't. It's just you want this to be like that. Love you guys, but that's, I just don't want you to be disappointed or think it's the justice system's problem when playing out because it's politically charged, where if you saw it in another situation and you didn't have a political dog in the fight or it wasn't political, it was like just a riot about something random. And somebody went down there to like make sure people don't break the windows on shops, and they said that, but they also thought they were going to get killed and And there wasn't a political bent on it. It was, I don't know, farmers against ranchers. It was the Bundys against the locals that want to use the grazing lands. That if it broke out that way and it played out point by point, it would be the same law, same thing. What about the first guy? Rosenbaum? That's the guy who was chasing him. Why can't Hal tell us what we want to hear like Fox News? Exactly. Hold on. What about his mom who dropped him off with the gun? She didn't drop him off with the gun. She dropped him off at his friend's house. The gun was there, apparently. We'll find out, though. That's part of it, But again, it's his mother. I mean, are we going to throw the Columbine kids' parents in jail? Is that the law you want? Have I ever used guns in a firing range? Of course I have. Jazzmaniac. And yes, he's going to get paid. He will, because of all the political weight on this, and because because the right wants to celebrate him and the left wants him crucified, the right will throw money at Kyle Rittenhouse. That will be true. Jazzmaniac, you are absolutely right. His mother definitely gets 5 eggs. Hold on. I'm going to get the cat just so we can chill out for a second. I love you guys. Let me tell you something. I love you guys. I love you guys, and I don't want you to be disappointed when the bullshit other people have been selling you doesn't play out. That's my biggest concern. People get so demoralized and so upset because it should have gone this way and it didn't, because somebody, well-meaning or as a complete asshole, has convinced you that it could go that way. And I'm telling you it cannot. So I don't want you to get upset because it should and it didn't when it can't. Because the worst thing, and it kind of goes to that demoralizing article before, the worst thing that can happen to most people politically is that they're sold a bill of goods that can't pay off and it doesn't. And then you don't want to engage, and then people don't vote and all that kind of stuff. That's where that shit comes from. All right, I'll find a cat. Hold on one second. Chip, where are you, buddy? He's where? Is Chip around? Oh, there he is. Got to work. That's cool. All right. Well, have fun. Thanks for bringing him. Somebody pooped on the stairs. I managed to get it. Yeah. Looking hip, by the way. The jacket's good. Yeah, it's solid. Peace. Here he is, palate cleanser, Chip the palate cleanser. Hi, buddy. Are you okay? Were you sleeping? You look like you were sleeping. He's purring. He's the sage. Yes, you are. You're a monster. You are a monster. You're a beast and a monster and a killer. I know. You can get. You are Chip, killer of curtains. You are. You are Chip, killer of curtains. Attack and kill. Attack and kill. I've got a chip on my shoulder. He is getting huge. He's getting very long. Look at his butt. He eats nonstop. He's still so cute, though. He's super cute. Oh, you're a sleepy boy. You are a sleepy boy. Such a good boy. Such a good boy. Yes, you are. He's adorable. Look at this guy. He's got his little polka dots. Chip. That's a good boy. He's such a good... Yes, Mint Chip Joy. That's right. Hi, Mint Chip. Right. Spicy. There you are. You want to get down? You want to run around? You want to sit on the lap and just, yeah, elongate? There you go. Yeah. Thank you. He's hungry. Hi. How are you? Wait, I opened up my other computer. Just went to sleep. There we go. So, I appreciate that I can have that conversation with you guys. Because I feel like politically, one of the tools used to demoralize people and get them not to vote is setting up an impossible scenario so that as possible. And then when it doesn't pan out, they can go, see, you need to vote for me because I would have done that. I would have gotten that through. I would have made that happen. If I'd been there, and that's a primary manipulator in politics. And it's a lie. It is a lie. And the problem is in these situations, what's going on? Who's that? What was that? Somebody at the door. What is it? Who is it? Who is it? Oh, attack and kill. Attack and kill. He's a guard cat. Yeah, thanks, Roderick. I'm being 100. Right. That is exactly where I alone can fix it. And that son of a bitch never fixed any of it. His wall doesn't work. The economy, couldn't survive even the beginning of COVID. Like all this stuff that he was like, I know better than the generals. I'll get us out of Afghanistan. Nobody else has. And then he never did it. He didn't do it. He couldn't do it. And then Biden comes along and he's like, I'm not the only guy that can fix it. I'm just committed to doing this, and it's not going to be pretty, and we'll just get it done. I'm not going to win you over with a kitty. I have 5 to choose from. Excuse me. Hal, I appreciate your point of view, especially when it differs from mine. Well, that's good. See, that's how it should work out. That's what being human beings is all about. Yeah. Everything's a coup, right? Everything's a coup. Everyone. So, whenever you see, a narrative, even when it's on your side, I want you to be able to question it and, not be baited into future disappointment. Okay, palate cleanser. Here's a story that's a palate cleanser that to me is awesome, but apparently freaks out Anderson Cooper. I mean, look at that. Look at his face. Look how freaked out he is. This is what freaked out Anderson Cooper looks like. Like he's just been told something horrifying. That freaked me out. Anderson Cooper spooked by historians claim that we're the last generation of humans. Tell me more. What he means is Homo sapiens. That's going to be anybody want to guess that's going to be my nitpick with this story? Here we go. That freaked me out. Anderson Cooper spooked by historians claims that we're the last generation of humans. During a lengthy segment on CBS's 60 Minutes on Sunday, Anderson Cooper conducted an interview with Israeli historian and best-selling author Yuval Noah Harari, in which he admitted to being frightened by his predictions about the future of humanity. At the start of the interview, Cooper quoted Harari's claim that humans alive today will be one of the last generations of Homo sapiens. Yes. Kind of a distinction between human and Homo sapien. Thank you. I'll make my case in a second, and you will be amazed by how easily I make it. And within a century or two, Earth will be dominated by entities that are more different from us than we are different from chimpanzees. Yes, Harari replied. What the hell does that mean? Oh, God, the toenail fungus ads. Jesus. Quit it. That is so gross. But can we get rid of that shit? Oy. We'll soon have the power to re-engineer our bodies, our brains, whether it is genetic engineering or by directly connecting brains to computers or by creating completely non-organic entities. If true, that creates a whole other species, Cooper observed. This is something that is way beyond just another species, Harari said. This historian went on to explain that the real danger lies in creating artificial intelligence that solves problems much more efficiently than humans do, but that also lacks any sense of morality and responsibility in how it solves those problems. Like the National Socialist Party in 1935. Harari also warned of the possibility that only the super wealthy would have access to this kind of technology, and that it would lead to even more spiraling inequality than what we see today. If you've seen the movie Elysium, that's the case that they make in that one. For the first time, there will be real biological inequality. If the new technologies are available only to the rich or only to people from a certain country, then Homo sapiens will split into different biological castes. Watch the interview below. Okay, first of all, we have been modifying. Quit it. Oh my God, you just can't scroll without. God, just a mess. Raw story, you're a mess. They can't show the interview because it was pulled because CBS put a copyright strike on the page or whatever. But on the one hand, human beings have been biomodding forever. Vaccines are a prime example. Ever since we've come up with vaccines and medicine, we have separated ourselves from what the previous Homo sapiens were. Homo sapiens pre-medicine, and they did exist, and post-medicine are biologically different. We insist upon it. We're not born in some cases that way, but we're born of people who have natural immunity, for example, and after a while it has developed into something more permanent. We also have gone from cutting off a leg just because it's ill to when we do cut off a leg, not just putting a peg on the end of it, but a full, like, battery operated, self-balancing gyro leg that you can put on there, which makes effectively that person, a mixture of human and machine, because it is compensating for a lack of control in the brain by balancing out the leg when it's moving and those kind of things. And so technically, even though you can take that thing off, the fact that when you use it and have it available to use makes you different than any Homo sapien who was born back when we were sticking wood on the end of somebody's leg, as much as, yeah. So hold on. And don't get me wrong about peg legs.
I like wood.
So what we're talking about here is bioengineering, and in terms of CRISPR, for example, and what it can do, like the Chinese scientists that modified 2 embryos and 2 children were born who apparently cannot get HIV. They're messing around with that over there. They supposedly shut down his lab. Don't believe the hype. They gave the guy a raise and gave him his own lab someplace, and they just don't talk about him anymore. Trust me. In that regard. And this is the problem I have with Anderson Cooper's take on this. This word right here. That word right there. Because being the last generation of Homo sapiens does not mean being the last generation of humans. Because a human is not a pure Homo sapien. Homo sapiens are a genetically specific breed of primates that arrived on the planet, and started to establish themselves about 140,000, 160,000 years ago as the dominant primate species. And then eventually led to humans being able to do all the shit they were able to do. If we had a kind of brand new Homo sapien born back then, yes, Neanderthals were human, right? Variation in there, yeah. And we mixed with them a lot, obviously. I clearly have far more Neanderthal DNA than the rest of you. That variation or genetic variations in Homo sapiens over time, in the form of illness even, as an example, do not make those people less human. Human is different than Homo sapien, in the same way that in many ways gender is different than sex. Sex is an immutable characteristic. It's mechanical. It has to do with testes and ovaries and all that kind of stuff, whereas gender is the expression of those particular things, and effectively is a broad spectrum of things in terms of its ability to carry it out. But yeah, humans is definitely a loose term, clearly. I like men who are Homo erectus. Okay. Depends on why they're Homo erectus at the point, I think. The toes are gross. I'm sorry about that ad. I'm trying to, you can see me trying to scroll around and get past it. Human DNA is fluid. It is, absolutely. But categorically, it's in the Homo sapien zone, right? So that when you talk about DNA, that's a Homo sapien thing. Human, on the other hand, is an expression of, we even say that some people aren't human, not because of, some people say it for racial and gender derogatory reasons, but some people say it because of someone's given up their humanity card, like Ted Bundy or John Wayne Gacy or something. Or, we talk about serial killers, for example, beyond their humanity, right? As not being human. That's not human. It's definitely Homo sapien. It's just not human, right? That's the important distinction. And so in this conversation, Anderson Cooper, I would like to make the case that no matter what Homo sapiens do to their physical persons, humanity is something that we judge based on behavior. Yes, more human than human, right? And that we will, by the way, decide at some point that either androids or replicants or whatever we want to call them have so much humanity ingrained in them that they are incapable or have been programmed otherwise. We will decide that they are more human in their behavior towards other people than, say, the occasional rampant serial killer or murderer that's among us, right? We'll go, they're more human. But is human the ability to do those things or the choice that you make not to? And I would argue that's what humanity is about. Humanity does not mean that you have your baser animalistic instincts that would act horribly on their fellow humans or the animal or the rest of the animal kingdom. Humanity is knowing you have those impulses and working to shift, working to cultivate a behavior away from them. Human versus humane, sure, but that would be that's a distinction without a difference. That's kind of what I'm trying to. Coco had more humanity than most humans. Yeah, sure. She was great with cats. We know that. Proto-human, though, can't stand him. Good morning. It's been a heavy conversation this morning. Good. Society will collapse long before we ever get to the android replicant phase of the future. Give us another 50 years, maybe, before everything hits the fan and we melt down. Not happening, Billy. I'm sorry to disappoint you. The world's not going to end. Yeah. I know people have been selling that for a long time. It's not going to happen. It's the easy way out. It's not going to happen. We're going to keep tinkering. It's going to suck, and then it's going to get better, and then it's going to suck, and then it's going to get better, and then we're going to go to space, and then there's going to be things, and then we're going to realize we're still human, and then we're going to have, we're going to try, like, why don't we have robot judges after a while that stick to the law? And then somebody's going to go, oh, shit, they stick to the law so much that they're awful. That doesn't actually work out. You need human flexibility. Then, all right, we'll go back to where maybe we weren't wrong. Yeah, they've been saying we're going to be wiped out for 6,500 years. It's the end of life as we know it, and the end of human culture and all that kind of stuff is a sales pitch for, pessimists and others to sell their way of being. Stop polluting. I'm trying, Foggy. Don't yell at me. Yeah, it's not going to end. It's going to be real different. That is absolutely true, Jazz Maniac. That's the part they're kind of talking about in this article. That we will not recognize our humanity. And here's the thing. The murderous and pleasure impulses that we have right now, that we, for millennia, have had to mitigate and protect against with laws and the like, will in future be mitigated and protected against through, cyber impulses put in by, a computer add onto the brain, that if you have the desire to murder someone, you can have a governor that you install to make sure you don't murder someone. You can still act in self-defense if that person's on the fritz, but then somebody will hack that, right? All that kind of stuff. Yellowstone's not going to explode. And even if it does, it'll only affect a third of the planet, and the rest of humanity will survive. We've been through shit like this before. You're on this planet for 100 years. If you're lucky, you just make it fun. That's a good idea. Gut instinct. It's a good plan. I am the law. Yes, there will be some version of Judge Dredd-like characters amongst us. Yep. Nuclear war, don't see it happening. I see one nuclear explosion happening again in human endeavors, and then it's probably between China and Russia, or North Korea and Japan, but yeah. Yeah, nanotechnology monitoring the brain chemicals polluting our bloodstreams and correcting imbalances. Absolutely, Pamela. And nanocomputers that we use instead of vaccines. Yeah. Pessimists and others, you mean uber progressives? Yes, I do. Please don't put me in Facebook jail. Sorry. Click, clack. Sorry, you're done. That's right. China and Pakistan, my money is on it. Yeah, well, Pakistan will want to strike with it. It would be a dirty bomb if it was that kind of thing. It wouldn't be an active strike. Dude, Yellowstone equals death for me. I hoping it's a quick death. Well, if you're that close, it will be. Humans are like animals. Eventually, we will go extinct, but the planet will continue. No. We're unlike other animals. We're the only animals that cultivate the existence of other animals. We're the only animals that protect other animals from extinction by other animals by trying to create situations where the animals won't come extinct. We're a unique species, and we may leave the planet sooner, but we're not going to go away. Israel and Iran, that's a possibility, although I think that Israel's going with conventional weapons and Iran doesn't have a nuke. And if Israel strikes Iran with a nuke, then all the other bad actors in the world will be justified in using a nuke against Israel. That's what's going to happen. Yes, we are the guardians of paradise. We should act like it. Thanks, Christina. I'm glad you guys like the flapper shows. We're roaches. Yeah, but we're sexy roaches. Nanocomputers that heal your cerebral palsy, please. Yes, Nick, that is that will be in the early stages of what they will test on people. That's that, you will go after it, fighting diseases that are debilitating and the like, and then eventually they will attack aging as a disease. There was this argument, Aubrey de Grey, who was with the Harvard Longevity Project and works for the SENS Foundation and all that kind of stuff, was talking about how humans will be able to live forever eventually. And they're like, well, 1,000-year lifespan is impossible because of the limits of DNA. And he goes, yeah, but there's a point where you outrun aging, where if you can find a 50-year-old and you can give them the biology of a 30-year-old, then what you do is over the next 20 years, you're continually backing them up to that 30 mark through, healthful additions to their body, the modification of organs, blah, blah, blah. How we are the third that will be affected. I don't know what that's related to. Third generation of stuff? The third iteration? The planet is already overpopulated. No, it is not. The Earth has enough resources for somewhere between 9 and 11 billion people to live healthy, wealthy, and wise. The problem is the distribution of those things or the availability of it equally across the planet. There's a lot more food in certain areas and a lot more people where there's no food. That's more like people traditionally growing up in desert areas and that kind of stuff. That's something you have to handle. The only reason why we have a limit, it seems like we have a smaller limit on people on the planet is because the people in the highly populated first world areas have to get food to the people in the highly populated third world areas where there is no food, but they continue to stay there. It's the old Sam Kinison bit about go where the food is. We use so many resources getting food to people that's what makes that resource expensive on the planet. The full body transplant. Yeah, that's definitely coming for sure of some version. Iran doesn't have a nuke. That's good. No, they do not. The only reason you get old is your mind is programmed to some degree. Oh, thanks, Jazzmaniac. I'm glad you guys like the flapper shows. They're still online if you want. I won't leave them up permanently, but they'll be up for a little while longer. They're on the channel. Go to infotainmentwars.com. You can watch the Friday. There were 2 shows Friday, 1 show Saturday. The Saturday show, Charlene and Laura, were okay with being on, so we streamed their sets as well. And gravity's why you get old. That's part of it. Tugs on you. Hal, sometimes your voice sounds a little like Owen Wilson. Yeah, really? Wow. I sound like Owen Wilson? Wow. Sorry. Absolutely, Bulldog. Don't thank me, thank the patrons, because it's because of the Patreon folk that I can afford to and have a reason to when it comes to the comedy clubs that have cameras to post the shows. So thank you, patrons, for giving comedy to the rest of the world. I agree too, Kale Inc. I thought the 2 Friday shows were better. But that's comedy, and it's all, me just playing around and writing. And quite frankly, I think I was Saturday. I was genuinely exhausted. I was really tired. That was a long week of stuff. It was the tail end of it, and I knew I had the drive ahead of me. So I think psychologically, I was like, "Oh boy." Thanks, V. Gabriel. Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. Yes, hail patrons. Am I on later? No, not. Yes, today. Yeah, I'll be on for my regular one. I usually stop this one about 11 o'clock. The struggle was real. Yes. Do your drunk knees right. Thanks, Trisha. I appreciate that. Cell manipulation. You get skinny tell about big-headed humans. Well, maybe, but maybe that's what we'll grow to like. Audience reaction is also a key to stand-up. Yeah, when you have everybody has to be vaccinated or show proof of vaccination. In this case, flappers, you have to be vaccinated. You have to show proof. So that's going to keep the audience sizes it's fairly small. Everybody else who's like, vaccines are bullshit. They're like, crowds. Thanks. I appreciate it. I'm glad I look rested today. The lighting's also better, in my studio. Crazy funny lady laughing made me laugh in the Friday Flappers. Oh my God, it was lovely. She just, for whatever reason, the Australian accent just murdered her. Enjoyed your show from Flavor last night. I was laughing so hard. Great, Lil Red. Thank you. Yes, I do look much better today. Thank you. I was bagged out. It was a lot. And I had meetings and all kinds of other stuff in between all this. Ugh. Next Flappers is beginning of next month. I'm not sure, actually. We have a December show on the books. Yeah. I do play well to a vaxxed crowd, it's true. Yeah, she was going bananas. It was great. And it was great because you could tickle her and that would kind of create a flow. Yeah, through the crowd. It was great. She couldn't stop when you paused. I thought she was going to have an attack at one point. It was great. I'm looking at the chat. This is me looking at the chat, just so you know. This is me. This is what it looks like when I'm looking at you, folks. Audition was good. Got another one on Wednesday this week. So I'll be traveling again tomorrow. I got to leave and go back. So I'll be doing Wednesday's show from LA again, and that stupid mosquito will be biting the shit out of me again. He even got me through my goddamn shirt. Like here and here. I got 2 other bites that like weren't there. Damn it. I keep trying not to scratch. It's sort of why I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt right now. But that, and it's kind of chilly here. And it's flattering. I think. Is it flattering? Does it work? Is this too much? Sorry. It was a horsefly. Oh, yeah. It was a deer fly. Yeah. I do taste yummy to the skeeters. I'm sure my blood is preferable to Chad and Bumpers. They go out there to sit down, and the flea goes, whoa. No, the mosquito. No, they weren't fleas because I saw the little sucker. And we don't have any pets at the house. We don't have any, they don't have any, I don't have any animals there. All my animals are here, and they don't have any animals. Well, Chad has a snake and a spider. Nose itches today. Chad has a snake and a spider. But they're always in. And I guess he's got a blonde python, and it got out a little while ago and scared the fertilizer out of Bumper. Oh, it was so good. It just figured out how to get out of its tank and was just in the kitchen or something. Oh, just, yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Those are not pets. No, they are. They're something just to scare off the straits. Sometimes you have to take pets out of a house. The fleas stay and lie in wait. Oh, yeah. Well, yes, that's true. Humans equal free will. Yeah, that's true. That's what makes you a human. If you take out that part, Or, here's the thing. So, a company comes to you, and they say, we have a little chip we can put in your brain that will make sure you never murder or sexually assault anyone. And you go, yes. Are you less human after that choice or more human because of that choice? Huh? How do you like that? I think I've invented, if I do say so myself, one of the great philosophical postulates right now. I just did it. If you could get a chip put in your brain that would stop you from doing something immoral, are you more moral because you made the choice to do it, or less moral because you no longer have to make the choice? I mean, sometimes you sit through the whole show just for a nugget like that. Damn, I'm impressed with myself right now. Right? There's a new mosquito that's an avid ankle biter. I've never seen one yet, but they've been bitten. They're teeny tiny varmints. Those are usually no-see-ums that are in the carpet. You want telekinesis, that's all. Until you don't. You think it's more human to make that choice. Well, then maybe you're autopiloting yourself so you never have to make that choice again. So are you human in the moment you make the choice, or are you human in the moment that you make the choice never to have a choice again? I'm just saying, more human but not more moral. That's a great way to look at it. See, Doctor Paradise has a take. Once you learn the chip can be deactivated, you'll always be aware of that. You can always have it taken out. How have I seen Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind? No, I have not. I thought we were always human. Well, the thing is the human? No, we're always Homo sapien. Are we always? What's the human part? And that's kind of the philosophical discussion that comes out. Does a lobotomy count? No, because often lobotomies are made as a choice by someone else because you're already crazy. Did I say Chip? Did I? If I mention Chip, Hal may not like. I like Doctor Who. Yeah, I mean, sorry, the Fourth Doctor is the greatest Doctor and will always be the greatest Doctor. Piss off. But I am actually a being in the Doctor Who universe. In the Tennant Doctor Who, I created the hyperdrive. The creator of hyperdrive is named Hal Sparks. And the name was taken from the fact that Russell Davis, who created Queer as Folk, also brought back Doctor Who, and he put my name into the show. I think it's episode 14 of the very first season of that reboot. So I am a part of. I'm Doctor Who canon. Yeah, for real. How you like me now? How you like me now? All right, hold on. I'll see if I can get Chip again. If he hasn't passed out somewhere. Where are you? Where are you, buddy? This is an integral part of the show that everybody has to live with. Where everybody can just look at the stuff on my counter when I go hunt down Chip. He was, I thought he was asleep way upstairs, so I was like running around looking for him. And here he is. There he is. There he is. Okay, we'll sign off right now. Chip, you and I are going to sign off, okay? You want to say bye to everybody? Meow. Yeah? Yeah, he gives kisses. Hello, excuse us. There is a Sparks Discord, absolutely. Join the Patreon. That's how you do it. There's also a low-level one that's just because anybody can get in, but I have my concerns. Yeah. Yes, Chip wants down. He wants a snack, clearly. He's licking my thumb right now. We love Chip. Yes, thank you. So I will see you guys. Hold on. Let me put on some fade out goodbye music. And you want to say bye? You want to say bye? You want to say bye to everybody? Hello, goodbye. All right, I will see you guys later. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else, and I'll see you this afternoon at 3 o'clock Pacific time.
I love lamb. We need you. Hell, I need you. I'm a mess without you. I miss you so damn much. I miss being with you. I miss being near you. I miss your laugh. I miss your scent. I miss your musk. When this all gets sorted out, I think you and me should get an apartment together.
We've got entirely too many troublemakers here.
You can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads. They all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.